Joe, this one's for you. Start with you anyway. What is the role of the state committee, and what will you do to work together with them?
Yeah, so by my nature, I'm a bridge builder, not a bridge burner, as some are. The state chairman should honor the state committee as the board of directors of the party. And you have to have a open and transparent dialogue with them, honoring the role that they serve, but they should also honor the role that you have as chairman. You really should be an exemplar for the party, our platform, be a moral force, and be one who is able to connect with those even though you may have differences with them, and that has been my track record as a bridge builder throughout my career. I've been very successful at that. Thank you.
I don't plan on making any unilateral decisions as your chair. The state party committee is the party. I will be very careful when I select the committees, and then I will depend on the committees. Our budget committee should see every dollar that is coming into the party. It should look at any bid from any vendor that seeks to serve the party, and it should make the best decisions on those resources. Same thing with our rules committee, same thing with our policies committee. It should not be the chair that is making any of these decisions. I've watched that happen. I would depend completely on my state committee to be making the important decisions of how we run the party.
One of the things that I've been hearing as I go around the state of Michigan is the disenfranchisement of delegates. The state law says that a duly elected delegate must be seated and allowed to vote. So that is something I will not get away from. Beyond that, in terms of what you find in many of these committees, the chair appoints the committees. But to try to iron out some of the problems, you have to bring people together. I was able to do that as chairs of committees. I bring in 30, 40 people, stakeholders, to get a bill through that was very difficult. That's what I would do with these different committees to make sure we iron out the problems as best we can.
So the state committee essentially runs the operations of the party when things are functioning properly, and any chair is going to have a lot of ideas, a lot of thoughts, a plan. But it's only through all of the different ideas that many of which have never been considered by a leader, boiling to the top, being listened to, being treated respectfully, that we can truly be at our best. So the committees will have autonomy, they will be involved, they will be empowered, and they will definitely be getting asked regularly for input from myself, my co-chair, and everyone on the staff. We report essentially to the committee and then to the delegates.
All right. Meshawn, we'll start with you. Do you feel the state committee should have the authority to remove the MIGOP chair, and how or why do you feel that way?
I mean, that would depend entirely on the way the bylaws are written. I think right now they're written that they could remove the chair. I mean, we just went through this. I think you would need 75% of the entire state committee. So, I mean, you're asking me a personal question. Do I think if I were helping to write the bylaws, I would say yes, that we should have it written into the bylaws that there be a method for removing the chair. I don't know if it exists right now within the bylaws, but I think that it does.
With any position, you'd have to have some method of removing the person. I don't care what it is. I mean, you can get somebody that I've seen in the past of people that pull a scandal that nobody knew about, and my gosh, you've got disorder all over the place. So there has to be some threshold. The threshold has to be high, it has to be transparent, but you can't have somebody in office that was just arrested for sex with a minor or something and say, well, we can't get rid of them. So you have to have some method. It just has to be a high and transparent standard.
Yes, I think the state committee should have that opportunity. I also think that the delegates should play a role. Currently in our bylaws, they do not. But the body has got to be able to remove a chair for cause, and the threshold, as Senator Runestad mentioned, is and should be very high to do that. We can't be in a situation of, gee, we just elected this person at the delegate level, we don't really like him, so if we can get one more vote than those who do like him, we'll change the organization. If we did that, we'd have 3 or 4 chairs per cycle, certainly currently. So I think there should be a mechanism, and it should be a very high threshold.
Certainly, if there are grounds, if there is cause, whether it's financial malfeasance or other ill behavior, the state committee ought to be empowered. They are empowered to do it. I think it has to stay out of the courts. The free association clause, I think there was a ruling by the Supreme Court that said state party bylaws trump state law. So that is if should ever a dispute arise like this, the state committee can be and should be empowered to act accordingly and remove a chairman for cause.
Jim, this one starts with you. Do you feel the state committee is responsible for fundraising?
The state committee, I have found to not be the primary fundraiser. What you have to do, when I was in financial services, I would have to sit down with clients and they'd write a $20, $30 million check to fund an annuity. That's not something, a skill set everybody has. You have to have a lot of trust, not only in yourself, but that you're gonna be trustworthy with that money. That's not a skill set everybody has. The reason I was able to raise so much money in the legislature, I would go to people in my district that had a lot of money and talk to them about my vision, not trading money for votes like Lansing, but that's a skill set I think that's got to devolve to the chair.
Yes, the state committee should have responsibility, every delegate should have responsibility, every conservative should have responsibility, because we all need to work together as a team to maximize the inflow of resources that can then be presented in a proper and compliant manner to elect our candidates in November 26th. The chair needs to be the lead person, the chief fundraiser of the organization, but any one person can't be truly successful on their own. There's got to be a team, and when people sign up to become more involved, they inherently have some responsibility. I look forward to working with everybody on fundraising.
Should I have the honor to serve as the next chairman of the Michigan Republican Party, certainly if anybody on state committee has leads for me to pick up a phone call or bring my desk to their door, meet with them in person, I would be happy to do that. And that's very important. We need all oars in the water. If you get leads, whether it's from a delegate, district chair, county chair, take them, run with them. But I'm highly seasoned in fundraising. Speaker Newt Gingrich knows that. That's why he's endorsed me. I founded Catholic Vote, and every year, in every election cycle, I should say, they command 8 figures a year through a diverse array of fundraising, whether it's online or high net worth donors contributing to them. And I would do the same as chairman of the Michigan Republican Party. Thank you.
I agree that the state committee should absolutely play a role in fundraising. All of our congressional district chairs, which are members of the state committee, have their own committees. They're all very interested in raising money. Some of them do it much more effectively than others. As the chair, I mean, I've done this even not as your chair. I would be working with all your congressional district chairs and your county chairs to help them be bringing in surrogates, guests, organizing events that raise money so that each of these committees can be empowered to be financially strong all on their own. That's how we would be an incredible party if 13 districts had a lot of money in the bank.
Okay. Scott, we'll start with you.
Okay.
How do you foresee any fundraising the MIGOP completes helping local, county, and district parties?
It's all about politics being at the local level. We have got to, as a Michigan Republican Party, do a better job of providing resources and empowering people at the local grassroots level. Think about it. If every county party was successful, of course the state would be successful. We are the perfect example of a bottom-up, grassroots-driven organization. We're not like the Democrats where it's orders from the top down. We go bottom-up. And by raising funds and sharing them in an appropriate, compliant manner with our local leaders, we will see success that we've never seen before.
Vital for the next chairman of the Michigan Republican Party is to use the weight of the office, use the contacts with the Trump administration. I have friends who are in the cabinet who are ready to go into the field. Speaker Newt Gingrich is ready to go into the field to help raise money. This is a very traditional and very powerful means of raising money for county parties, for the state party, and no greater time than now to seize that fulcrum from President Trump, the beautiful one from his 2024 victory, to begin raising money for the all-critical 2026 election that stands before us. Thank you.
We have a unique opportunity because President Trump won and because we are about to all enjoy unbelievable prosperity in all of the actions that President Trump is taking. There's a whole renewed hope in this country. And I think now is a perfect time for everybody to be out fundraising. Manufacturers that have never given before, small businesses that have never given before. I'm proud to have been endorsed by Charlie Kirk and Turning Point. They have vowed to come here to Michigan. They've already spent an incredible amount of resources in Michigan electing Donald Trump, and they are committed to fighting again in 2026. That's what makes people excited to give again.
Certainly, any help that the chair can get would be great, but I believe that the chair's one of the number one jobs is raising money. I don't think that the congressional districts and the county chair should be feeding money up to the state party. It should be the other way around. I would be organizing fundraisers all over the state of Michigan. I have done very, very big fundraisers, A to Z. Me and my volunteers did the whole thing. We had Vivek Ramaswamy come out for a huge Kentucky Derby event, raised a ton of money for House candidates. I can go out, meet with these different congressional delegates and county chairs and help them raise money.
All right, Joe, this one starts with you. What experience do you have personally with managing finances?
I have been a business owner. I own the Pontifex Group. That's my consulting firm. I do media consulting, public affairs, media relations, highly successful. I've done that for 15 years. I have operated and stood up nonprofits and have overseen their operations financially, as well as my own business, as well as that of campaigns. And it takes that skill set for the next chairman of the Michigan Republican Party to responsibly lead, serve, and win in the 2026 election cycle and beyond. Thank you.
Business experience is very important in this role. I think all four of us have demonstrated that. I have been an entrepreneur my entire life. I've owned small businesses my entire life. My husband and I own one of the largest bail bond agencies in the state. So I've had to do everything from hiring, firing, marketing, managing the budgets, paying the bills, signing contracts. So I think a strong business leader is very important in this role, and I've got a long history of small business administration.
Well, I've owned my own business for many decades in financial services. Worked with my brother for many years, and I had to basically leave in 2014 and give over my book of business to him. He now has one of the largest, maybe the largest financial services operation in all of the state of Indiana. So we have had just everything that goes along with that. But again, it's building that trust with a donor. You have the personality, you have the temperament, you have the trust in order to invest that money in what you're doing.
I've demonstrated I can manage and properly be transparent with millions of dollars in three different aspects of life. One, business, from working with AT&T at a corporate level, very large organization where I had millions of dollars I was responsible for annually, to being a self-employed entrepreneur, helping startup organizations, working on profitability and reporting for some of Michigan's largest companies, and again, startups. In the nonprofit sector and in the political sector, where even a higher level of fiduciary responsibility is required due to the fact those organizations operate on donor dollars.
All right. Meshawn, we'll start with you. What experience do you have personally with managing a campaign?
I have great experience with managing a campaign. My husband has run 3 successful campaigns for State House of Representatives. We did those all by ourselves. We have never hired a consultant to manage our campaigns. We did it on a very grassroots level, from writing copy, dealing with the media, sending out press releases, creating his mailers, printing, door knocking. There isn't really any campaign in Michigan that I haven't worked on in the last couple of decades, from the governor races all the way down to school boards just this last cycle.
Well, I ran the first race I won in 2008. I was pretty much, as I just about all the time I've been, I'm the candidate, the campaign manager, and the consultant all rolled into one. So I had to learn to do every single aspect of a campaign and won every single time. In 2018, I won the closest Republican Senate race by about 3 percentage points, with Republican senators losing all around me. I know how to win it's not that hard to win an election if you got a high Republican majority, but to win a very, very close race, that takes a lot of talent. Thank you.
I've literally been involved in campaigns since 1989. In that time, I've worked as a consultant, as a campaign manager, as a staffer in races ranging from city council and school board, all the way up to staff roles in presidential and gubernatorial races. I've been part of over 100 winning campaigns where I've had some kind of a lead role during that time. And I've planned campaigns large and small from start to finish, whether it's a $1,000 budget or a $10 million budget, and had good success. So I'm prepared for that part of the job.
My first political campaign I managed was in 1992. We beat a primary opponent, congressional, went on to win and beat a 10-year incumbent Democrat in that general. I have about a dozen other campaigns successfully leading, fighting, and winning in them. Most recently, I've led the charge against Governor Whitmer's corrupted deals with the Chinese Communist Party, tied deal with Goshen in Mecosta County, as well as cattle in Marshall. Those are both on the rocks, and I would continue that same winning record of spotting opportunities, leading, fighting, and winning against the Democrats, should I have the honor of your vote and being next chairman of the Michigan Republican Party.
Jim, starting with you, how can the MIGOP chair prevent another loss of the governor's race here in Michigan?
Well, the first thing you have to have is a good candidate. There's a lot of candidates that are running right now. The one thing I will promise you absolutely, I will not put the thumb on the scale in primaries. It's been a disaster. Usually there's a lot of moneyed interest. We'll put thumbs on scales. I think that's completely inappropriate. I also will make sure that the system is up and running. You got to have the money. I will raise the money to keep that going until that pass-through dollars come in. There's likely to be $500 million or $50 million coming through for this race for the U.S. Senate seat.
So with question to the governor's race, obviously we've got to have a very well-oiled machine that whoever wins the primary can step into, and that's providing offices, providing partnerships around the state with local counties. It is making sure that the funds are there and they're handled compliantly and we get every penny out of every dollar that we possibly can. And it's making sure that Republican policy messaging is in place long before our candidate is selected, so that people are already leaning toward the Republican Party. They're understanding the philosophies, the principles that we bring forward in whomever wins will be the right direction for the state of Michigan.
We stand on the cusp of a great success potential in 2026, building on President Trump's win in 2024. You need a chairman who has the judgment, the character, and the temperament to know how to lead, serve, win, and fight. As Reagan said in the Cold War, we win and they lose. We win, meaning the Republicans, they lose, meaning the Democrats. Imperative is to have the resources necessary, operating professionally internally, but also forward-facing. There's too much at stake to let it go by. It's the first time in modern times that we've ever had a U.S. Senate seat open, as well as the governor's race. The stakes are very high. We can have a transformational impact for generations if we win in 2026. Thank you.
Maintaining an orderly office in the party, having very strong America First messaging, and having a dynamic candidate is how we will win. I would give anything for a few of our candidates that are considering running for governor to decide that maybe they would be best served running for a different role. It's a shame that we have so many candidates and we have such bloody primaries. I think all of us can agree that we divide into factions and then people are polarized and then they don't all get on board right away. So the one thing I would implore in my messaging is for everybody to get on board the minute the primary is over and work really hard for whatever candidate crosses that finish line.
Okay, if I get a rebuttal.
Yeah.
What it makes it more bloody is then when party officials involve themselves in primaries. That reflects poor judgment and poor character and only hurts the party. It wastes money and it takes time, focus, and resources necessary that you need to singularly focus on beating the Democrats. That can't happen again.
Okay. Scott, we'll start with you. Should the MIGOP adopt what third parties do and allow the precinct delegates to choose the state rep and the state senate nominees to potentially soft close our primaries?
I think closing the primaries is a great idea. I think Republicans should be electing Republicans, and frankly, Democrats should be electing Democrats. Historically in the state of Michigan, I know Republicans that have played in Democrat primaries. I haven't done it, but I know they've done it in deep blue areas of the state, and obviously we've seen vice versa. So this would require a massive change in the law and how this is actually legally done in the state of Michigan. But I would be not able to do it myself, but I'd be very supportive of closing things up and keeping our party to our party and our conservatives.
Very important. I concur with Scott. Thank you.
Just like in Berrien County, Ambassador Cella has absolutely no idea what that means to close our primaries. He demonstrated it in his answer back in our Berrien County debate. But anyway, I 100% am in favor. The reason you get Republicans that you don't like is because Democrats vote in your primaries. And we have campaigned on this for over a decade, my husband and and I know that I can't do it alone as your state party chair, but I would be very strong vocally supporting closing our primaries the minute we retain the House, the Senate, and the governorship.
100%, I've always advocated closing the primary. It's imperative, but it's not the only reason that we get bad candidates. Party officials involving themselves in primaries when they shouldn't. That is also a major problem. I would go a step further, and I have been advocating that we have partisan school board races, because the Democrats win these because they pretend that they're not who they are. We need to expose them by having partisan school board races.
Joe, this starts with you. How much time each week do you feel will be required from the chair to run the party effectively?
Full-time and overtime. You are never not on call, and you should be ready at any moment to be on the phone, respond accordingly there, whatever the medium, drive somewhere to engage whatever the opportunity may be. Also important is to track things and spot opportunities to bring the wood to the Democrats. I've done that uniquely, standing apart from my opponents. I wrote a little op-ed in the Detroit News about 3 weeks ago decrying Governor Whitmer for not calling the special election in the 35th Senate District. She has not done that. It's politics. We're going to press her and keep the heat on her so we can win that seat. That's a flippable seat. President Trump and Vice President Vance will help us get there.
This is beyond a full-time job. I am fortunate that I have a cabin up here about 30 miles away. I have a condo over in Grand Haven to visit my grandkids, and I have a home in Oakland County. Owning the entire state and working nonstop as your state party chair, I believe this question is directed at Senator Runestad, who is a full-time state senator. He has to be in session next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. He also sits on committees. He is not allowed to conduct any fundraising or campaigning while he's on Senate or property of the state of Michigan. So I have no idea how anybody thinks we are going to win the governor's seat back with a part-time state party chair.
Ironically, you just heard Meshawn say that she runs the biggest, largest, most gigantic bail bonds company, which is very labor intensive. Her husband's a legislature. He can't obviously do it. So she is running that, a big operation. How is she going to have any time for this? My obligation is about 8 hours a week. That you're there 3 days a week from 10 to 11:30. That is it. That's my obligation. All the rest of the time, what I'm doing now, you'll get more information blasted out about all the garbage that's happening that no chair's ever had before, and I will be full-time on this except for those few hours per week for 30 weeks out of the year. Thank
I'd
you.
like a rebuttal. I haven't stepped foot in the office of our business in probably 3 weeks. Our business runs itself. We have an unbelievable staff. I have managers that do that. I have done nothing but work full-time to re-elect Donald Trump, and now I'm going to put that exact same effort in electing your next governor and your next U.S. Senate seat.
To answer the question, I think on the low end, it's probably a 40 to 50 hour a week job, and on the high end, it's probably a 70 to 80 hour a week job or more as we get closer to the election. This will be my full-time only focus. I will not have any consulting clients. My business will essentially shutter itself. The clients that I work with on a regular basis, there's probably 100 quote-unquote political consultants in the state of Michigan. They will be selecting different ones, and my only focus will be on bettering the entire Republican organization for every delegate and for every candidate so we can win in 26. It is a full-time, big-time job.
Meshawn, we'll start with you. How can the MIGOP be united to bring all factions to the same page under the Trump agenda?
I mean, I wish I could say that all delegates will be brought together in unity. I'm not going to be one of the candidates up here that tells you I can solve this problem of unity. I've been a delegate for almost 20 years, and I have watched people from different factions rise up, and I've watched them get set aside. And my advice to people when they feel disenfranchised is don't quit. That's what we learned from President Trump. You don't quit. I've watched delegates disappear. You need to regroup. You need to recruit more people. You need to give them the positive message, and you need to come back and win again.
Well, you have to first off make sure that you're not creating problems by violating state law and telling delegates that we won't seat you. a duly elected delegate must be seated and allowed to vote. That's the first standard. Beyond that, you can sit down with these different factions, especially if you're going into a convention. I've seen this before. The leader will choose one or the other side, and they will just smash them with the rules. What you need to do is you need to sit down with these, and I haven't seen this being done before, sit down with all of these different factions. Usually it's a couple of leaders, and get them to agree on things before the convention instead of saying, all right, you win, you lose, I'll smash you at the convention. That I will not do.
Full unity is impossible in a large organization like ours where thousands and tens of thousands of people are involved at some level. But what I will do is I'll try and bring everybody together under the policies of the Republican platform and the America First policies that President Trump puts forward that most of us can agree are moving our country and our state in the proper direction. I will also do my best to utilize contacts I've got in every part of the party to make sure every voice is heard, it's treated with respect, and the ideas are considered and vetted so the best ones can be put in play for every delegate and every candidate.
As I mentioned to you earlier, I've been gifted with the ability to be a bridge builder and not a bridge burner. I have done that all of my life. I love loving people. I have the ability to connect in whatever I have done, however I've done, whatever capacity, and very successfully. I would do that earnestly and with success as your next chairman. I have been above the tumult and the drama and the chaos of the last few years. I think this is probably a symptom of a broader illness that's existed for some time. And I have the credibility and the stature, the judgment and the character to do that for you. And that is my pledge. Thank you very much.
Jim, this one starts with you. How do you propose to repair the damaged trust the grassroots have with the establishment faction of the GOP?
It's just what I've been talking about all morning long. You can't have violations of the rules. There's rules that I have seen for 20 years where the chair of the party will just simply pick somebody and they will violate rules, whatever side, usually it's moneyed interest, to smash the grassroots. This has got to stop. I mean, we have rules in place that will stop a lot of this, but you also have to bring people in and have some discussion. Where are we going to agree to a meet to make sure that this convention isn't a catastrophe? I've never heard of this done. This is the skill set I have developed over my entire career. Thank you.
It's what I just mentioned at the end of the last answer, which is making sure every part of the party has an opportunity to be listened to. And by every part of the party, I mean those of us that are strong American First conservatives, all the way to moderates who I disagree with 20-30% of the time, but at the end of the day, they want to elect Republicans. It's making sure every geographical region is properly listened to and their needs and desires are considered. And whenever possible, putting those type of things to work, whether it's a policy idea, whether it's a location for a meeting, whether it's how we support a candidate, so that the best ideas can come forward and, importantly, treated with respect.
On my day one speech at the U.S. Embassy in Fiji, addressing my 150 embassy employees and colleagues, I said that I would bring my desk to their door. And I did that repeatedly and successfully. And I would do that very thing as chairman. I would burn a path across this state to reestablish that connective tissue that's been lost. The night before I left, I sat down with the Fijian Prime Minister's right-hand man. He said, Joseph, your good work of building bridges has transformed diplomacy in Fiji and has taken it to the level that it's never been at. And I pledge to you I would do the same as your next chairman of the Michigan Republican Party. Thank you very much.
I think things have changed a lot in Michigan in the last few years, and especially because of Donald Trump. And I think even the terms grassroots and establishment don't quite mean the same thing that they meant before. I think that we are now the party of Trump. We are about to experience unbelievable prosperity, and even here in Michigan, we are going to see a dark cloud lifted. People are going to feel better about their lives. They're going to feel better about their kids going to school, about job opportunities. And I think that will bring all of these sides together. All we need to do from the state party leadership point of view is be a strong, conservative, honest opinion.
Hey there, everyone. Just wanted to remind you to stay in the loop. If you're watching us on Facebook and Rumble, be sure you hit that follow button. If you're following us on YouTube, be sure you subscribe and follow so you can see every episode. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time.
A large retail store just canceled a huge order, leaving us with a ton of extra MyPillows. But you know what? That's their loss. I'm going to make it your gain. For the first time ever, you get standard classic MyPillows for wholesale prices, only $14.88. I can't believe I'm even saying that. Only $14.88. But it gets even better. For a limited time, I'm going to offer my entire classic collection at wholesale prices. Upgrade to a queen size MyPillow for just $18.88. King size only $1 more. Get my body pillows for $29.88 and multi-use MyPillows for only $9.88. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on the screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of wholesale pricing for the first time ever on TV, including my standard size MyPillow, only $14.88. They've never been offered this low before. We have limited quantities at this price, so limit's going to be 10, and once they're gone, they're gone.